Vernomatic Productions.
Are you ready?
Live from the Metal Mayhem Studios in Rochester, New York.
We are gold.
And heard around the world by metalheads just like you. This is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Heavy metal music.
Your weekly dose of metal music, interviews, album reviews, news, and more. Want to be part of the show? Send us a message through our website, metalmayhemroc.com, or hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Search Metal Mayhem ROC, a proud member of the Pantheon podcast team.
It's getting nice and heavy.
Now, welcome our hosts, John the Vernomatic Verno, and direct from New Jersey, Metal Walt.
Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's enjoying themselves. Here we are, mid-November. Thanksgiving's next week. Things are good. Well, tonight, Marc Storace, the powerhouse voice behind Krokus, joins the pod. He's here to share the journey in creating his new solo album, his second post-pandemic solo album called Crossfire. At the time that you're going to be listening to it, it's out. It's released on November 22nd. Marc discusses the personal and professional stories that shaped his career, including iconic tours, collaboration with producer Tommy Henriksen on the CD, and the revival of Krokus. You know, Krokus, they're approaching their 50-year mark, and Marc's been with them since 79, so he discusses what's going on with Krokus then, now, and in the future. He takes us on a journey from his roots in Malta to the Swiss Alps. I didn't know he was from Italy. God, my ancestors are from Italy. He may be like an old cousin or something. Well, anyways, he shares the backstory behind these new songs. We share our reviews of these new songs. You'll hear anecdotes about his encounters with rock legends like Dee Snider, Joe Elliott, and Motley Crue. Not so much encounters, but beefs, if you will. Let's see. He shares memories of touring with Judas Priest, Def Leppard, and Nugent, as well as becoming drinking buddies with Southern rock legends Blackfoot. Yikes. Those guys are serious. Drinking with Blackfoot? Well, anyways, Marc sets the record straight on the whole joining AC/DC rumor thing that's been around for years. And actually, he touches on the rumors about joining AC/DC in 2016 when Brian Johnson fell ill. So he clears all that up. It's a fun and fascinating conversation with one of rock's more genuine personalities. He's a good guy. He really is. He was funny. But before we jump into that, got to remind you, head over to metalmayhemroc.com, sign up for our newsletter to get exclusive updates on all these episodes we're doing. We have YouTube stuff, interviews that are there. I do a radio show on Monday nights on Metal Devastation Radio. So if you sign up for the newsletter, you get updates on all of this. Let's see. Check out our winter merch page. Hoodies, hats, T-shirts, posters. That's up there at metalmayhemroc.com. Hey, listen, if you dig what we're doing here, do us a favor. Leave a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you're listening to the pod. Subscribe to the podcast. Share it with your metal buddies. Leave a review. And, if you send one in, we'll even surprise you and give you a shout out on a future episode. All right, let's get into this. Marc Storace, Krokus, telling us about his new solo album, Crossfire. I'm the Vernomatic, and this is Metal Mayhem ROC. Well, here we are, middle of November, and classic metal albums are still being released. Today, we welcome Marc Storace from Krokus fame. He's here to talk about his brand new second solo album, Crossfire. Marc, welcome to Metal Mayhem ROC.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for doing this. I'm really pleased with everything that's happening right now. Yeah, new album, new record company.
Hey, Marc, nice to meet you. So your resume says that you were born in Malta, which for us geographical people, Malta's an island south of Sicily. My family comes from Calabria, which is in the bottom of Italy. But how did you end up in Switzerland? How did your family migrate to Switzerland?
Well, I mean, it's very simple. Malta was a British Commonwealth country for nearly, a colony of Britain for nearly 200 years, My dad bought me the first plane ticket to London, And this was after I left school, and I knew what I wanted because I had started singing at the age of 14. And there was nowhere to go on this little island except getting a contracts in clubs, singing in nightclubs and stuff. So, forget the hard rock. And I wasn't into that. So I just took that step to London, and sometime later I bumped into this nice Swiss girl who'd lost her passport, had to take her to the agency, the place where they make new passports. And anyway, so I ended up in Switzerland. I met a lot of great musicians, and there was loads of bands coming through Switzerland, making stops here. And I thought, what a great looking country. I loved the seasons, 4-season country, the mountains, the lakes, everything, and the music. The music is what kept me here. I did my stint with a band called T, which was a progressive hard rock band. And with them, I did my first professional work as a singer, which means writing songs, recording your own songs, and going on tour promoting your own rock songs, And we went all the way up to Hamburg and as far as Scotland and Wales and came back here. We were, in those days, a new sensation in Switzerland. And after that, I went back to London, and 2.5 years later, came back here to have a weekend jam with Krokus. And following that, joined the band in late 79. We started touring already before Christmas. And 1980, my debut album with Krokus came out, Metal Rendezvous, and whoosh, bam, slam, choosh. Everything went so great. The managers couldn't keep up with the telephones, and eventually we flew to the USA and played the Chicago Fest and met what was to become U.S. manager. He was with John Colodner at the Chicago Fest. And the rest is history.
Well, speaking, Mark, of Krokus, we don't want to steal the fire from your solo album, but John and I were observing that, Krokus was supposed to have retired in 2019. We were looking forward to a U.S. tour, which got squashed because of the pandemic. But then I see that this summer over in Switzerland and Germany, there were some Krokus shows played as well as solo shows. So is retirement now on the back burner, or will we see Krokus again? Will you guys end up back in the States?
Well, like you say, Krokus packed it in Europe in 2019, December 2019, forever. And we had other gigs to continue doing in the UK with Saxon, and then we were going to ship over to the USA and Canada and South America, and then that would have been adios amigos, But in the meantime, COVID came in and destroyed all the plans. And I was sitting here thinking, well, I'm going to do a solo album, not just going to waste my time. And I did this COVID thing, the first album, Live and Let Live, was recorded close to Zurich with these session musicians, really top musicians. And I wrote the song with various musicians and put a band together. We did streaming gigs. The first one was with Balwa Session, which really exposed us all over the world because it's like a world streaming thing, this Balwa Session, very good. And after that, started touring, got a new band together, In the meantime, Turi Vicky, the guitar player, left for personal reasons. We've got a new guitar player now. He's on the new videos from Crossfire, the three that were just released. And things are going on for me because the ball keeps on rolling. You know, I started something with this, and it's continuing with Crossfire. But in the meantime, Krokus were invited to play for the commemoration of Solothurn, which is the town, the hometown of Krokus, where the band was born. And this was a 2,000-year anniversary, so a really big thing. And after that, you know, we had such a great gig. The guys couldn't believe that we were not together anymore. So one thing led to another, and we planned a comeback, and it was a real big success. And this year we did a whole load of festivals. I really enjoyed it. There's a nice harmony in the band. We're doing it because we love doing it, and that's it. So I'm juggling between Krokus and Storace, and I'm happy about that because I love singing. It's my passion, you know. So I like doing various things. There's also other things happening.
Mark, couple questions on Krokus. Throughout the years, Krokus sort of pivoted into a brand, if you will. Yourself included, you had different stays in the band, and different members from long ago made return visits. So why was the band going to pack it in? And how come instead of going solo, if the rest of the band wasn't going to keep it going, why couldn't you keep it going under the Krokus brand name?
Well, exactly, because the brand Krokus doesn't belong to me. It belongs to Fernando von Arp. And there's no way that I was going to be able to. Yeah, he's a very tough lawyer. And, so no way. But I thought, well, I can do my own thing. Why not? Have fun. And I don't need to prove anything at this point in time in my life. I just turned 73, and I feel blessed that I can still do what I do and hit the notes I do with the gritty sound and the power, and I'm still energetic on stage, So for me, that's all a big plus, a big bonus. I have a great band behind me with 2 ex-Krokus members from the Rock the Block era. Mm-hmm. That's Patrick Abbey on drums, who not only plays drums, but is a really great guy, all-rounder, does a lot of other stuff. And Dom Fave on rhythm guitar. He's also on Rock the Block, Fire and Gasoline, and the Hellraiser album. And we've toured together with already so much. And as bass player, I took on Emmy Meyer. She likes to call herself the bass babe. And she's really good. She really moves and looks good and plays well, hits it hard. And I have worked with her like for the past 15 years on different tours with this concept, which is like a circus tent, which goes out on the road in Switzerland, So we had these 2 projects called Rock Circus and This Is Rock. So it was obvious, I asked, Emmy was my first choice, and she's great. And lately, Serge Kristen replaced Turi Vicky on lead guitar. And you'll see Serge on the first 3 videos, 3 songs released from the Crossfire, the new Crossfire album. And I hope you like them. We love them. We enjoyed doing them, and I think it comes across.
Well, definitely comes across. It comes across as a nice tip of the hat to what we love, and it's 80s metal. You got your rock anthems, you got your screamers, there's some, finger-picking leads, there's even a ballad that closes the album.
Metal Mayhem ROC.
I'm Metalhead.
Metal Mayhem ROC is the home for metal from the very beginnings.
This is James DeBear from Hellstar. You're listening to Burnomatic.
Dave Overkill from the Cleveland band Destructor. Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm doing great.
To longtime headliners.
Hey, this is Red Beach from Whitesnake.
Hey, this is Vinny Appice from Dio, Black Sabbath, and Last in Line.
To music of today.
Hi, this is Olaf Wickstrand from Enforcer.
Hi, this is Braun from Mastodon.
You're listening to Metal Mayhem ROC.
With John, the Vernomatic Burner.
Plus, we talk with producers and authors to give you behind-the-scenes info.
Hi, this is William Irwin, author of The Meaning of Metallica, Ride the Lyrics.
Greg Renoff, the author of the book Van Halen Rising and the Ted Templeman book, A Platinum Producer's Life in Music.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Metal Mayhem ROC, a proud member of the Pantheon podcast team, giving you more to listen for. Join our community, and always remember to keep it heavy.
How did Tommy Henriksen get involved with this? This cat's all over the place with Coop and the Hollywood Vampires. Tell us the history with Tommy.
He is so into what he's doing. He just laps it all up, and it's his passion. And you feel that when you meet him. You know, I met him about 10 years ago. I was doing these backing vocals for a production he was doing. And since then, we stayed close, you know. The band he was producing at that time were friends of mine called China. I don't know if you know them, but now you do. And, so we stayed in, I wouldn't say close contact, but last time we saw each other 2 years ago at the Rock the Ring Festival in Hinwil. It was the very last festival because they suffered so much from COVID that the finances, you know. So anyway, Alice Cooper and Tommy on board were playing, they were headlining there. And we played after them, to close the festival. And the mob, the crowd, the audience, they were still out there and still going nuts when we hit the stage. So much so that they formed this huge mosh pit, you know, which is like a great honor. You know, it was the first mosh pit in the Storace history, you know. So it was this album still. And and the song was No Place to Hide, you know, it's real aggressive and so on.
That's what I was going to ask. What were they moshing to?
No Place to Hide and Carry the Burden. Those are the two really energetic songs. And so then we came off stage, still excited and sweating and happy. And Tommy came backstage and said, "Hey, Storace, I want to produce your next solo album." Yeah, I said, "Hell yeah, Tommy, come on in. Yeah, I want to be here." And I said, "So do you have time for that? You're always on the road." Yeah, hell, I'll make time, you know. So by hook or by crook, we managed to finish the whole thing in time to deliver to Frontiers, which is, I'm pleased to say, my new partner in crime, you know, record company. And doing a hell of a great job. I'm so happy because, you know, for the first album, it was all a do-it-yourself thing because nobody wanted to sign up a new act during COVID when everything was going down the drain, people dying and going bankrupt everywhere, you know. So I'm really happy that it's elevated to this position now, and the band is really kicking ass, you know, and so I'm pleased, and this gives me the energy to go on, you know, as long as we get positive feedback, and then I'll carry on. You have to pull me off stage one day.
I second what John says about the album. I love it because it's filled with these anthematic hard rock songs with just enough guitar in there that it works, but you got these big choruses, and you mentioned the videos and the singles. Let's talk about those, right? So you have Screaming Demon, which opens up the album. And what I like about this video is it's the band staying in the same room, right? You're performing and you hear these motorcycle or race car sounds, and it's just your typical album opener. It's a fast track. I could see that one opening the show, right?
You're right.
So comment on that one, and then I want to talk about Rock This City.
Well, Screaming Demon is like you say, the mega opener, and we will open with that next year when we play next year. And yeah, it's all about a racing car, basically. And today it's amazing what goes on, these Grand Prix and stuff. And it's also the notion, of driving a fast car when you're doing it yourself. If I'm in a safe place where I can, hit the pedal to the metal kind of thing, then I like to go for it. But you got to be careful. But still, it's all about the fun of driving and burning up rubber and gasoline, and the fun hearing that engine roar and stuff like that. I'm talking old school now, because
I like that stuff. I like that stuff,
Yeah.
Mark. Rock This City, though, I wanted to say this about that song. Okay, number one, that's a pretty elaborate video, whatever's going on in that background there. But what I like about this one has that kind of metal march to it. But this is where you start to see the separation on the album, where the choruses come in, and it's got that big 80s choruses. And then in reading the press notes, I learned that you brought in the engineer, Olle Romo, who's a Mutt Lange protege, who, of course, worked with Def Leppard. So I'm not certainly comparing it, but I feel like there's similarities there.
Uh-huh. No, you're right. Hit the nail on the head again. It's Olle Romo was a godsend, thanks to Tommy, because he has all the connections. And he actually, Tommy worked on his solo album, the first Crossbones Collie album, Evil World Machine, together with Mutt Lange as what do you call that? Overseeing the production, Mutt Lange. And I've heard stories there, and he told me Ole's gonna record. Olle is Mutt Lange's engineer, and he's going to mix your album. I said, wow, how did you manage that? And I was so pleased, and made me feel so secure that everything was going to be okay in the end. Because, when you start off, you have all these bits and pieces, riffs and things. And then Tommy told me, well, in the end, it might sound a little bit different than you hear it now. So don't get too emotionally attached. It's like, the shifting sands of music, But I'm so happy with the results. And, not just praising Tommy, but also Olle. Olle did a great job, Yeah, and Rock This City is all about a couple close to breaking up, and he realizes he wants to love her forever, and he gives up the bad stuff he was doing or whatever, and they get back together again, and they go rock the city. They go to a rock concert together and have fun, and life starts again as usual. A couple in love, great.
Love. We love that 4-letter word. Listen, the next single, We All Need the Money. I get the feeling through research that the premise of this band on Crossfire is the live band from the last time around. In this video, it's nice to see the band all together for this video on stage. It's a catchy song, maybe the radio song. What's behind this? Because it's a toe tapper. It's a song you should hear on radio.
Yeah, it's really cool and catchy, and it's not too fast and not too slow. And as you say, it's good radio material, And there's this feeling, because actually, the video, when you watch the video, this was filmed from 2 festivals, So we patched it up together. This guy, Frank, from Music Clip, his company, he's really good at editing and stuff and filming the stuff. So there's Tommy Henriksen on that, as you can see, and also Turi, the old lead guitar player, plus even Serge Kristen is on that same video. So it's like a big mixture, and you can hardly notice that these are 2 different festivals. It's footage from two different films, and it's a very, very nice. It chugs along nicely. And the lyrics are I find are really great, interesting. It's about working class, blue collar, working 9 to 5. You got bills to pay and everything, and the boss is on your neck, breathing down your neck the whole time, and no time to rest, kind of. No rest for the wicked.
Gotta make the money.
Yep.
Hey, Mark, I like that track too, but there's 2 that I think have some similarities in the style. Adrenaline and Sirens. And by that, what I mean is these are those songs where you almost have that drum beat, that 1-2 drum beat that holds the whole song in place. It's not very elaborate and it doesn't need to be flashy, but it makes these sort of fist-pumping type songs, and then you tie in the one-word chorus, and it just makes it work. A song like Adrenaline, it's a fist pumper, and then Sirens, it's a bit of a dark song, like a dark, heavier track, but they both have something in similarity together. So I'd like you to comment on both of those.
Well, there is a similarity in that they differ from the rest of the songs, because the other songs are basically, let's say, party songs, rock with a blues touch, a boogie touch in there. You can say influenced by Krokus and AC/DC, if you like, and because that's where I'm coming from. It's in my DNA, and other songs are influenced by what I love listening to, and what I wanted to experiment with. And so there's this long drawn rhythms, down, daff, doof, daff, and it gives time and space to sing, adrenaline, and it's another love song. It's a guy falling in love with my dream woman, the woman of my dreams, just there she comes walking, and and Sirens is totally different. There's nothing like it on the whole album. And actually, Tommy said, "You sure you want to have this on the album?" I think we should try to get it on a movie, which is totally right. I told him that in the beginning. This is going to sound like a movie track. And it's about mythology and history. Here in Europe, back in the days of the Odyssey and the Greeks fighting in Troy, and it's a mixture together with, it's like a dream, so you can mix eras in a dream. And it's like when the Romans destroyed Carthage, and they used to have these sea battles with the huge wooden ships and stuff like that. And I'm into all that, so I wanted to have it included there, what happened around the Mediterranean and back in those days, so that's why it's dark, the and I'm singing in a different way. I'm singing like kind of. I even like Genesis and Peter Gabriel, you know. So these are where some of my other influences come out, you know. And I'm happy that I can let them out sometimes, you know.
Oh, sure. After 40, 50 years recording and listening to music your whole life, you have tons of influences. And the AC/DC influence on Love Thing Stealer, man, that Malcolm Young tip of the hat. Talk about this song, because this song, my notes, big and melodic song with definite 80s influence. That's a good one. And the other last one I want to talk to you about is the ballad, Only Love Can Hurt Like This. But AC/DC, was that influenced, or give us a story about that one?
Let's say it's a mixture of AC/DC and Krokus, and the subject is more or less similar to, I would call it Midnight Maniac #2. You know,
okay, that's fair.
You know, you have this woman there. She's a love thing stealer. You can imagine what that means, you know. And yeah, it's she's you know, she's like, what, you know, I wouldn't say a slut, you know, but you know, this kind of woman that doesn't give a shit and does what she feels, walks over people, especially men, but they all love her. They all want her, you know, still. And yeah, that's the kind of thing it's all about. And the ballad is total different cup of tea. It's like, it's full love song. It's full realism. It's full emotion. And that's where I kind of drop my facade. I feel like, you know, it's just like being real. And the story behind the inspiration for that song in the first place, you know, was we had done everything, and Tommy and I happened to go through a bad time because both the fathers of our wives, fathers-in-law, yeah, they both died while we were working together, you know, on this, because this took about close to a year, you know, working on Crossfire. And so we had this emotion that needed to get out. And it was an emotion about love, you know. And we didn't want to sing about our, you know, father-in-laws, you know. Nobody does that. But so we put it in another text and sing about the way we feel when we're on the road for months on end, and you've got your woman, your kids at home, maybe your cat, your favorite car or whatever, but especially the woman you love, you know, and you're away for months, you know, and what would you think? What would you sing to her? And if you listen to that, that's what it's all about.
Every album that's inspired by the sound of the 80s needs a ballad, needs a lighter flicker, needs something like that.
Well, yeah. It would be a good last encore, I think, you know, before everyone walks out. It's like, give us the lights.
Yeah, the old days.
In the old days, yeah. Now it's all handies. Mobile phones.
It doesn't have the same effect. You need the lighters. It's, you know, so.
Yeah. And the temperature rises about 2 degrees in the hall.
Hey, Marc, tying this back to, let's say, your legacy with Krokus. Earlier in the hour, you mentioned the commercial success that you had on that sweet spot in the U.S., especially from, let's say, 82 to 88. I mean, songs like Screaming in the Night, Headhunter, Midnight Maniac, Long Stick Goes Boom. We still hear these on satellite radio all the time on the metal shows, all the time here.
Right.
But talk a little bit about like what did that mean to you hitting that commercial success? And then like John and I were trying to look at the local aspect of this. I mean, I was too young to maybe attend this, but you opened up for Judas Priest on the 1986 Turbo Tour. You played New York City and New Jersey. You played Rochester and Buffalo by John many a time. So maybe just comment on your commercial success back in the heyday, let's say.
Well, we were lucky, but we worked hard for it. You know, when we first landed in the USA to do a tour, we started out with clubs, you know, and it was really dangerous at times, you know, the characters hanging out there and stuff. But we gave it our all, and we always had to give encores, and that made us feel we were on the right track. And then we were booked the first time on a tour with Sammy Hagar. I don't know if it was Can't Drive 55 or something like that. But anyway, then we saw a different kind of crowd. You know, it's like younger, more girls. And we played this open air in Fresno. And we thought, wow, that's amazing. And from then on, we just kept on touring and going from bottom level to middle to becoming a headliner. And the way there was by playing gigs. You know, we played so many gigs. We were always on tour. We'd finish one tour, take a week off and step onto the next tour with the next band, with the next headliner. And Judas Priest was one of these bands. You know, we came through Buffalo and so on at least 2 times with the Priest, if not 3. And it felt good. It felt good because we were heading in the direction we wanted to go. And then what really the pinnacle, I would say, the biggest tour we went on is when we joined forces with Def Leppard on their Pyromania tour. And their album was at number 2. And our Headhunter album made it to number 25, the highest ever in Billboard charts. So we're thinking, hey, wow, we're respected in the USA. They love us here. Okay, we love them too. And it was really our favorite place to tour. And, you know, it was so different than Europe, so more easygoing, so more rock and roll. And, you know, so we didn't mind we spent more time there than we did here in Europe. And our European fans started to get pissed about that. You know, it's like, why don't you have a tour here? You know, so it's the opposite now, right now, you know. So I'd like to swing it all back and come over and finish what we started, finish it. Yeah, we had to stop due to COVID, you know, so... But let's see what the future holds in store.
Well, we say that all the time, Mark. We couldn't agree more. It's a shame sometimes we don't get a chance to see some of the bands that we love come over to the States. And if you're lucky enough to have the opportunity, let's say, to go over to Europe, I've done that a few times, attended Sweden Rock and a few other festivals. At times you can get the chance to see some of the bands that don't come over to the U.S. soil. But I hope you do make it back. That would be a dream come true for us.
I hope so. Well, with Krokus, we're going to come over to Florida, Miami in February, and then hop onto the Monsters of Rock cruise, you know.
Okay.
And I said to the guys, hey, let's do some dates when we finish the cruise and we get off. Let's not just head to the airport. Let's head to the tour bus, you know, and do some dates in the USA. But that didn't come together, so it's okay. I take life as it comes. No worry. And hopefully now that everyone knows that Storace exists, and there's more than 2 albums, so we're going to have a great kick-ass set list, playing live, that we're going to be booked in the USA, and nobody's going to stop Storace coming over, So it's up to you. It's up to you. And I promise, if I come there, I'll do a load of Krokus songs for you.
Okay,
yeah.
That sounds good to me.
I want to comment. I'm a few years older than Metal Walt, and my time seeing Krokus started as early as 1981. I saw the band Krokus open for Ted Nugent with Blackfoot.
Yeah,
up in Rochester, and I remember that was the time these bands were coming around like every 8 months. I had seen Nugent 8 months earlier. Then this was July 81 with Krokus and Blackfoot, and that's a strange bill. And then you came with Def Leppard, and but a comment playing with the Nuge. How was that tour and playing with Blackfoot? Because my God, you got Blackfoot from the South, Nugent from the Midwest, and you guys from Europe. How was that Nugent tour?
It was really great. He treated us really great. He used to drop into our dressing room and crack a few jokes. Hey, Storace. Yeah. He's a really big guy,
Yeah.
I came up to his navel, It's amazing. The huge Nuge.
That's right.
It's amazing, he really gave a nice show, I thought. And he had a loyal band with him. And I watched him many, many times and admired the way he did it,
What about Blackfoot? That was the Marauder tour. How were they?
Yeah. And they even had Uriah Heep's Ken Hensley on keyboards, And with them, we partied a lot with Blackfoot, They were a real big party band, and we got on well with them, and they really, hit with a punch, and so we invited them over then to Switzerland. It was 1982 when we played for the first ever Swiss music act. I'm not saying rock. I'm not saying, it's just in general, Krokus was the first ever band to sell out the Hallenstadion here, which is like the holy music temple, the holy ground of rock, in Switzerland. And we took Blackfoot along with us as guests, and they opened, and the crowd had a ball,
Oh, they're you're rolling the dice partying with those guys. They make their own moonshine. You got to be careful down there.
Yeah.
On a serious note, Marc, your career, you've been doing this for years. You've made a lot of friends, a lot of bands, and unfortunately, throughout the years, these bands haven't always played nice together. It's been documented. You've had your run-ins with the D. Schneiders and the Joe Elliots. But how is it now? Has everyone just matured to the point where when you see each other, you can let bygones be bygones, and you're just too old for the nonsense?
I wish. It didn't work with D. Snyder. He kicked me off this show we should have done together in Wacken. I was on tour with the Rock Meets Classic. It's a big thing here in Europe, with this rock band and the whole orchestra and backing vocalists and everything. And each singer sings about, 3 or 4 songs. And so I did 19 dates. All went well. And then for Wacken, they hired D. Snyder to headline, to be the headlining singer. And when he saw I was on the list, he said, "The Krokus singer, I hate that band. I won't come unless you throw him off a tour." And the promoter called me up personally and he apologized. I had a contract with them. I could have sued. you know, but he said, I hope you understand. I hope you're not too angry. I said, you know, hey, for you, it's okay. And if somebody's not mature enough to see things different, time washes old whatever away. And so that didn't happen, no. And he still paid me full for not even going there, you know. He was really honest with me, the promoter.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's still something which is like, sadly, you know.
Yeah.
But with Joe Elliott, it's a totally different story. I knew this contact that was an insider within the band, and I told him, because we were going to play Sweden Rock together. 2019, it was one of the first festivals we played, and I said, I want to meet Joe Elliott. And then Phil Collin came over, and he said, what's it all about, Mark? You know, and I said, hey, Phil, nice to see you. And, you know, I'd like to apologize to Phil for all the bullshit that went on the Pyromania tour between Krokus and Def Leppard, because I love your band, and you know, there were other entities that we couldn't control that made that shit happen.
What bullshit are you referring to? What happened?
Well, well, it became really dark, and I don't want to go into it because everything's okay now. And, and Joe took me in his arms. He said, "Hey, forget it. I'd forgotten about it." I said, "Well, I didn't," and he said, "No, forget it. It's all okay. And I'm glad you're here, and thanks for taking the step, and no problem." And so that was dissolved, you know, which is the way things should go, I think. Why keep up a battle, a war, the bad vibes for what? Well, nobody wins out of it, you know. So,
true.
So I'm really happy. And I visited Def Leppard last year. They were playing in this arena in Thun, Switzerland, and met them backstage, and just to say hi and, you know, exchange some good vibes. And they went on and gave a hell of a show. And after them came Motley Crue.
It was that tour. So do you have any history with Motley Crue? You ever tour with them or during the heyday? Because those guys partied in those heydays.
They partied, but no, we were not. We were not best of friends because before they became famous, we were playing in LA, and they came backstage and wanted to burst into our dressing room, and our tour manager, Little David, who's as big as a house, he stopped them and said, "Nobody's going in to disturb my boys," you know.
Yeah.
And that was it. They were insulted, and after that, it was just bad vibes, you know. So I don't know, you know. Some people expect things all the time, and they can't take no for an answer. But, you know, what can you say?
They probably haven't been told often. That's the problem. But, well, you got a parting shot before we let Mark get going?
Sure. Hey, Mark, you know, talking about touring, it's been rumored this week in the U.S. that AC/DC is going to drop a tour announcement to tour stadiums in 2025. I want to set the record straight. I know there's all kinds of folklore in your history that you were considered as a replacement for Bon Scott. And in 2016, when Brian Johnson took ill, you were also on the list. Is that fact, or is it fiction?
It's fact that I was on the list, but but AC/DC themselves never contacted me. It was this CEO of the same production company in Birmingham that they were using that brought down our light show. We were going on the Hardware tour, and pulled me on the side and said, "Hey, would you like to audition for AC/DC? They're going to be up at our place or whatever, or in London." And I said, "No, Steve, I'm too happy with Krokus. Metal Rendezvous went through the roof. You know, it's the first time this has happened to me in my life, and no way. And I'm staying on this horse." You know, yeah. And later on, when Brian Johnson unfortunately had that problem with his hearing, of course I was on the list again, and I read all the comments, and I really appreciate the respect, because to sing for AC/DC is really something. In the meantime, I became a big fan of Bon Scott and the songs he wrote, the lyrics he wrote, the type of person he was, and so on, from what I could read, and hear. So I'm glad they're gonna hit the road again. Yeah, great.
Well, the new album Crossover comes out. By the time you're listening to this, it'll be Friday, the 22nd of November on Frontier. Mark, share your socials. Where could people buy this album directly from you, and how could they stay in touch with you on social media?
Well, I've got my website, storace.ch, and then I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/Marc Storace, and I'm on Spotify and all the other stuff, which I don't go on personally. That's my son is doing that for me, because I'm not from the digital generation, So when Crossfire comes out on the 22nd, watch out. And if you want to pre-order now, you'll do us a great favor, because you might help us get into the Swiss charts or something like that. And so take a look on Facebook, and you'll be guided on there. There's a link on every video posted there below, the link that takes you to YouTube, and you can watch all 3 videos, listen to all 3 songs from the Crossfire album, and pre-order your copy.
Yeah, and get down to your local record store, Crossfire, get it. It brings you back to the 80s, a lot of like we covered in this last hour. Listeners, just want to remind you, get up to our website, metalmayhemroc.com. Check out the new merch page, listen and like some of our past episodes, and subscribe to the pod. Marc Storace, best of luck for you, man. Thank you for joining Metal Walt and myself, and anything we could do here, we do it, and we wish you the best of luck. We'll see you on tour, man, in the USA.
It was nice talking. Yeah, bring us over.
We will.
All the best.
You have the eagle as your backdrop. That's the sign of American freedom. You're destined to come here, Mark.
Yeah.
For Metal Walt and our guest, Marc Storace, I'm the Vernomatic, and this is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Metal for life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.